Are we in the abyss? This ever-mounting feeling of unease, so ingrained as if residing in my DNA. Do something, do something, do something, anything to burst out of this shell, cracking it so as to render it unlivable, making my return impossible, the only root evolution. This pressure I've put upon myself is crushing me into nothing of what I once was, mashing myself into pieces too fine to recognize. Will I leave myself here, or apply more pressure and make a diamond of me? Can we please create something beautiful? Send a fucking surge through me. Man, that is, that's taxing to read sometimes whenever they're I mean, they're all intimate, but just some more than others, because some come from a deeper part of myself than others, and I know that's a weird thing to say, but because they're all deep, but some are, I guess, more, just closer to my heart, I guess, where I'm saying, are we in the abyss? I mean the pressure around me. I don't necessarily mean the abyss. I just mean the lower you go in seed level, the harder the pressure is that surrounds you. That's what I mean by that. This ever-mounting feeling of unease so ingrained as if residing in my DNA. That's just me talking about my anxieties I have every day that are so much a part of me now that I mean, it is in my DNA, essentially. I mean, it's such a part of me that's what it is. I literally feel sometimes as though I'm unwelcome in places all are welcome. That may just be me. I sometimes get this feeling of just complete unwelcome, even though I may not have done anything to be unwelcome yet. I may not have shown too much of myself or done anything yet. And I just have that feeling sometimes that even when I'm alone, sometimes I feel as though I'm being watched scornfully just because, I don't know, it just makes the most mundane daunting sometimes. It's weird. Because my rational mind knows that a lot of that is just me. And I fuck myself up. Like, I'll fuck myself up bad before I even do anything, just because I have that feeling sometimes, and I'll set myself up for failure before I even do anything wrong. And where I say, do something, do something, do something frantically like that, I literally mean that. Do something to make this subside. Do something to make yourself feel better. Do something to end this sense of dread, this unwarranted sense of dread you put on yourself for literally no reason at all. And I'm sure a lot of people relate to that. They may not articulate it the way I do, but I bet you I'm not alone there. In fact, I know I'm not, just based upon other videos I've seen on YouTube and stuff like that. But you feel alone in those moments. You feel alone, especially if you don't really know anybody else like you that feels that way. And it's rough. It can be rough. I've learned to live with it. I had to, though. I literally was thrown in the pool and they told me to swim. Like, just being in the system for so long when I was on probation, I literally had to adapt. There was no other way. It was sink or swim, and I swam. And it sucks that happened to me, and I hope nobody else has to go through that. But I'm glad it did happen to me. I'm glad it did. It made me strong. It made me strong enough to be able to handle everything that comes with me, and that's a lot. And I'm glad it happened. Essentially, don't get me wrong. I still hate my PO, not because he put me through it, but because of his unwarranted contempt he had for me. But that's another story. I'm not going to go down that road again. Anything to burst out of this shell, cracking it so as to render it unlivable, making my return impossible. That is just me saying, that is just me talking about the change I'm making now. My old habits, my old comfortable shell I used to reside in. I burst out of it so violently as to make it unlivable for me to not return to it, because I don't want to return to that solace, that fake solace that shit gives you. And I was just putting a band-aid on a crack in the pool. It's still gonna trickle out and eventually empty. I mean, you're just, that's what it is. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people need medication. I'm not saying don't take your meds. I'm saying a lot of anxieties and a lot of your fears and a lot of your just unwarranted dread you have can honestly be quelled by cultivating yourself. By when you make yourself as good as possible, when you better yourself every day, it almost becomes impossible to be afraid of the things you once were. If you do something to better yourself every day, it becomes harder and harder to tell yourself those things you used to tell yourself, that I'm not good enough, I don't belong here, I need to get out of here, I'm uncomfortable. But why? Why are you feeling that way? Address that. Address yourself. Take your own inventory. I'm not a doctor, but I am somebody that is very, very, very seasoned in this, and my input is of substance in this avenue. I'm not trying to sound like an ass. I know what I'm talking about. I've lived it. I literally had to live it. I literally had to dive into myself and see everything about myself to figure out why I feel the way I do sometimes. A lot of it's drugs. A lot of mine was drug induced. A lot of it. I'm still getting over a lot of it. But other things like and there's going to be some shit you may not want to dredge up. I had shit I didn't want to dredge up. But at the same time, you have to be able to dive into yourself and really soul search and be like, what is it that's making me feel this way? Why do I feel this way? What can I do to make myself not feel this way? Bettering yourself in any way, shape, or form is just going to be beneficial to you no matter what, because Whenever you better yourself every day, you're making it harder and harder to hate yourself. You're making it hard, because how can you hate something you put so much time and effort to make it better? How can something be bad whenever you're putting so much time and energy to making it better? That's all I'm really trying to say when I talk about those things. Like that's it. But making my return impossible, the only route evolution. I just talked about that. I just went into that. This pressure I've put upon myself is crushing me into nothing of what I once was, mashing myself into pieces too fine to recognize. That is just me completely tearing apart all of my old habits, everything I didn't like about myself. Not everything I didn't like about myself, because some of those traits that I may not like may be healthy. But I'm not saying completely rip down who you were. I'm saying you're going to have to change some things if you don't like the results you're getting. I know my one kryptonite in this world is heroin. It has been forever. I mean, don't get me wrong, my mental health has not been the best, but I'm working on that. I'm making that better. You don't always need a doctor. Honestly, I've been to a lot of doctors because I had to. I was in the system. A lot of times my shit was court ordered. They don't always help. Their degree does not make them infallible. They are not above reproach. They are a human being. They can be wrong. In my case, they were wrong a lot of times. Like, I'm just saying, don't put so much stock into that, because you could literally, like, just because a stupid person was driven enough to go to school does not put them above reproach. Like, they're still stupid. They think they've learned everything they needed to learn. Like, there are stupid doctors. There truly are. You can be dumb and graduate medical school. I've seen it. I've seen them. They exist. I'm not saying they all suck. I'm just saying and this is where my message is getting shaky, because I'm not shitting on medicine. I'm not shitting on doctors. There are probably amazing doctors out there. I just haven't experienced them yet. In my case, I haven't found one yet. I haven't found one that truly helped me. I haven't found one that truly wanted to help me. I was always interesting as fuck to them because I'm not your typical case. They found me intriguing, but I'm not a fucking test subject. I'm not here so you can just test out a bunch of medicines and fucking figure out what makes me tick. Like, I'm a person. But when I say putting this pressure upon myself, pressure is privilege. That is not mine. I will admit that. I saw that in a Jadina video in like 2015 Classic Man. So shout out to Jadina. That is a awesome quote if that's yours. I sort of hate you for taking it before my mind thought of it. But yeah, pressure is privilege, because that, where I say mashing myself into pieces too fine to recognize, well, I leave myself here, or apply more and make a diamond of me. To all of those who don't know, diamonds are essentially coal that has been under immense amounts of pressure for however many years. Not going to get into carbon dating and all that, but that's essentially what makes diamonds: pressure. The pressure around them forms a diamond. That pressure can be privilege. It really can be. It can make you see things in yourself you may not have seen had that pressure not been on you. You don't know how strong you are until your textile strength is tested. That is mine, so don't take it. I just now thought of that. But yeah, you really don't. You will never discover your true you until your pressure until there's pressure put on you, and you're either going to fold or you're going to adapt. And it sucks that that's the way it has to be sometimes, but I mean, that's the way the world is. We never truly discover ourselves until the pressure's put on. We really don't. We don't find our truest self until we're put under pressure. You don't. At least I didn't. Other people, more enlightened people, probably will. I did not. I had to be put under pressure before I learned my worth as a person. And it's a good thing, because I learned there's a lot I can handle, and there's a lot I can do. So, and that's where I talked about in my last poem, one's own safety net can be the most dangerous. I don't mean it in the sense like life-threatening. I mean it, you will probably never discover your truest self until you shed your safety net, because you don't have any reason to evolve. You have no reason to adapt. You have no reason to better yourself, because you are already in a safe place where that is not a necessity. And that is why that is dangerous, because what are we here for? What is mankind here for if not to better ourselves and evolve? Lift up your fellow man. Not gonna start preaching again, but that's what it's about. Evolve, motherfucker. And then I say at the end here, because I'm rolling on 16 minutes. I rambled a lot this time, man. I had a lot to say, though. This one was gnarly. Can we please create something beautiful? That's me talking to myself. Like, my inner... That's just me telling myself, asking myself to do this. I do that. That's probably weird, but I do that. Send a fucking surge through me. That is just me wanting to be inspired in any way, shape, or form. Making a muse out of everyday life. I'm sure a lot of creative people that write music, draw, or artist, everything. That is the toughest part, is finding something inspiring that inspires you, that truly inspires you. It's rough. Yes, I've made one every day since I said I was going to do this, but it's not as easy as I'm making it look. You have to search. You have to search yourself. I mean, anybody can put some words on a piece of paper, but it don't mean shit half the time. They just found some words that sounded good together, or they're preaching, or they're writing poetry about a topic, a political thing, or whatever. Just whatever shit they. I watched one kid on here, and I'm not gonna do that, but a lot of the poetry I've seen on here just has zero substance, and I'm sorry if you're not one of those people. I haven't seen your video yet, but the stuff I've seen, I haven't seen anyone dig yet. I really haven't. They might feel like they're digging, but I don't know. But yeah, this is the longest video I've made. I had a lot to say in it. My poem said a lot. Really, I had a lot to say this time, but send a surge through each other. Inspire each other. That's not just me. That's me asking the world to send a surge through me. But let's do that for each other. Let's inspire each other to just do good things, man, because it's just better that way. I mean, I don't think anybody would disagree with me there. I'm sure I'm disagreed with a lot, but I doubt you can disagree with that. All right. Have a good day, everybody.